This is the world's smallest porpoise, the vaquita. It is found only in the Sea of Cortez in Mexico. Its name means little cow in Spanish, and because they're shy to the public, vaquitas are difficult to spot. This adorable species of porpoise is in serious danger of being extinct due to commercial fishing and lack of awareness of bycatch. The Porpoise Conservation Center states that only 30 vaquitas are left in the wild, and unfortunately this is just one species that suffers from the detrimental impacts that poor fishing habits have on marine life.
Large-scale fisheries are held responsible for the depletion of ocean life through overfishing and bycatch. Bycatch is a term that represents all the excess marine life that fishers catch while fishing for a specific species. For example, when fisheries are dragging long nets along the water collecting shrimp, they're also picking up other species. These other sea creatures are the bycatch. Usually bycatch is discarded back into the water, but by the time they're released back into the water, most often than not, the animals are already dead or are on their way to that point. Although the definition of bycatch describes the catching of excess sea creatures as unintentional, Jonathan Foer, the author of the novel Eating Animals, begs to differ. He says, "Modern technology tends to involve much technology and few fishers. This combination leads to massive catches with massive amounts of bycatch." Through the fishing styles that most fisheries have adopted today, many species suffer as victims of bycatch.
Bottom trawl fishing is a type of fishing where a large net is pulled along the seafloor. It is commonly used to catch shrimp and bottom-dwelling fish, but it also catches a variety of other ocean life. Fishermen use a wide range of gear to obtain their catch, and every type has its own effect on the ocean and its wildlife.
Dredges. Dredges are large metal-framed baskets that are dragged across the seafloor to collect shellfish like oysters, clams, and scallops, but commonly catch a variety of ocean life that are then thrown back dead or dying.
Gill netting uses curtains of netting that are suspended by a system of floats and weights. They can be anchored to the sea floor or allowed to float at the surface. The netting is almost invisible to fish, so they swim right into it. Gill nets are often used to catch sardines, salmon, and cod, but can accidentally entangle and kill other animals, including sharks and sea turtles.
Trolling. This hook and line method of fishing tows lines behind or alongside a boat, catching species such as salmon, mahi-mahi, and albacore tuna that follow a moving lure or bait.
Fisheries bycatch was considered a major threat to 67% of marine megafauna species, whereas 32% of species were threatened by invasive predators, and only 15% were threatened by both invasive predators and fisheries bycatch. 1.93 billion pounds of fish were discarded in 2005, for 9.61 billion pounds of fish landed during the same period. In this same report, the overall total bycatch estimate is 1.93 billion pounds for the whole year. Researchers also studied the issue of bycatch by looking at the nation's bycatch ratio. A bycatch ratio is calculated by dividing bycatch by total catch. The U.S. National Bycatch Report came up with a bycatch ratio of 0.17. That means for every 6 fish caught, 1 is a victim of bycatch.
Bycatch occurs in freshwater systems as well, not just in our oceans. Commercial fisheries operate in lakes and rivers around the globe. Some of the largest freshwater commercial fisheries are in the Amazon River in South America and the Laurentian Great Lakes of North America. Bycatch in freshwater commercial fisheries is a potentially significant contributor to the alteration of ecosystems. For example, sockeye salmon show reduced reproductive rates after escaping gill nets. Lost gill nets also continue to cause mass mortality of white sturgeon in the Columbia River in the U.S., and fyke nets incidentally capture and drown European otters. Technological improvements to fishing gear that reduce bycatch have been commonly applied to marine fisheries, but not freshwater fisheries, even though they could be especially effective in inland fisheries of developing countries, where discarding bycatch is very uncommon. The severe impacts of bycatch can be seen when we consider the Yangtze River dolphin. This cetacean went extinct in 2007 as a direct result of human behavior.
Romunis Zigelis notes that artisanal fishers make up more than 90% of the world's fishing workforce and tends to operate in coastal continental shelf regions featuring high productivity that can aggregate high levels of marine biodiversity. In many situations, large-scale fishing companies try to divert the public attention away from the issue of bycatch and toward another issue because once the issue of bycatch is widely known, fisheries will be forced to change their style of fishing. Donlan and Wilcox defends its proposal by arguing that eradication of invasive species would be a lower-cost option compared with bycatch mitigation, and fishing industries would welcome an opportunity to support conservation efforts without modifying conventional fishing operations. Although this seems like a resolution issue that fisheries would be on board with supporting, it is not a resolution to the main problem. Donlan and Wilcox is only trying to divert the issue in a different direction. Unfortunately, for Donlan and Wilcox and these fisheries, the public is becoming more aware of the issue of bycatch because they are recognizing the impact that bycatch has on marine megafauna. An important fact to note about the majority of marine megafauna, such as marine mammals and seabirds, is that they have longer lifespans, meaning they have late maturity and separate feeding and breeding grounds. Fisheries eliminate the opportunity for these animals to mature fully and reproduce because as victims of bycatch, the species' lives are cut short.
The vaquita, like many other marine life, are in danger and at risk of extinction due to bycatch. Unfortunately, the lack of care for bycatch have pushed some marine species, like the vaquita, past the point of recovery. If fisheries continue fishing at the pace they do without acknowledging the obvious depletion of ocean life, many species will join the vaquita on their path to extinction. So, what can we do?
As members of our nation's society, we cannot let the issue of bycatch remain unresolved.
An anonymous interviewee that Foer talks to in his book Eating Animals makes an extremely important point about consumer demand. This person says, "What I hate most is when consumers act as if farmers want these things, when it's consumers who tell the farmers what to grow." The issue of consumer demand may be seen as the root of the problem with fisheries as well.
With the issue of bycatch, the public blames fisheries for their unsustainable practices, and the fisheries in turn blame the public for maintaining such a high demand of fish. But with the weight of the problem being thrown back and forth, nothing gets resolved and our ecosystems continue to suffer.
Everyone has a role in reducing all types of bycatch, and the first step is proper communication. Bycatch is a relatively neglected problem, and the first step is bringing light to the scope of the issue. Studies have shown that lack of communication between fishermen has hindered the spread of sustainable practices. As consumers, we can help the problem by consuming less fish so that the fisheries have room to change their fishing styles. We can blame the fisheries all we want, but the root of the problem starts with us.